Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 23 of DannieBSpeaks, the podcast. Thank you all for tuning in once again. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. Trying to come back and get back on schedule as I mentioned that I would. So let's just go ahead and get right on into the show. So for the first Democratic presidential debate with all 50 million of them on stage, it was two nights. It was this past Wednesday and Thursday, and it was moderated by hosts from NBC and MSNBC. I'm not going to talk about everything. I'm not going to go step by step because, for one, I didn't watch both of them. I didn't watch everything. I watched like maybe the first hour of both. I didn't get into the second hour of anyone, but I saw a lot of the highlights. I watched a lot of highlights from what I missed. So if I missed anything that y'all thought was important, I'm sorry, but this is just from what I saw. So let's start with the standouts that I saw from the first night. And I'm ill prepared, but I just wrote down a couple notes and I didn't feel like doing any research. So we're just going to go from here. The former Washington governor, I can't think of his name and I didn't take the time to find it. Sorry, but I didn't. He was on point. I really liked him. I hadn't really paid any attention to him. And that's the important thing about all these candidates, even the ones that don't seem like they have a chance at all. You need to listen to their policies, because if it's something you agree with, then whoever becomes the nominee, we need to throw these things at them to see what they think about, or what changes they can make. So you need to listen to everybody. There are plenty of people on that stage that know they don't have a chance. Like the author from the second night, the lady, I can't think of her name either, sorry, but she was saying some bomb stuff. The white lady that was on the end, she's an author. She's a little cuckoo, but I love what she was saying. She was making some excellent points. She doesn't have a chance in hell in winning, but you saw how they were looking at her. And it was just like, wow, okay. And she got a lot of applause from the audience. So people like that, we need to pay attention to as well. Not necessarily for a voting standpoint, but just what they're saying. So the former Washington governor, he stood out to me. Of course, Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren was on point as usual. I've always liked Elizabeth Warren. She's extremely intelligent. She's a go-getter. She's aggressive in a good way, not overly aggressive like the night 2 when Kristen Gillibrand was. I mean, was she night 1 or 2? I can't remember, but Kristen Gillibrand was ridiculous. But we're talking about the standouts. And lastly, from night 1, I'm going to say the other standout to me was Julian Castro. Julian seemed to, and I already like him. I like him as, a person, as from what I know, of course. He just seems he knows policy. And of course, he was in the Obama administration, so he's been there in the White House. And not only that, you can see his passion about everything. And he made a lot of good points and had a lot of good ideas. So the Washington governor, Elizabeth Warren, and Julian Castro really stood out to me. Night 2, the standouts were Kamala Harris and Pete Budachech. He was so-so. I expected a little bit more from Mayor Pete, but he still did good. Kamala was on point all night, and I would love to see her debate Mike Pence or Donald Trump. I would love to see that because she would throw both of them off, because you saw how she took Joe Biden off his game. Kamala and Pete seemed to be the only two from night 2 that really stood out to me. Just like what they said, they were on point. They had good ideas. You could see the passion, and they were amazing. Now, the disappointments, I'm just going to lump all these together, not in any particular night. Bernie Sanders was a disappointment to me. Now, I still love Bernie. I voted for him in the last Democratic primary over Hillary. I did, because I'm a progressive. I truly, and I adore Hillary Clinton. I really do. I might be one of the few people who doesn't mind saying that. But as a politician, as a woman, just as someone who was going to get shit done, Hillary overall definitely was the one. But we've already had a Clinton in the White House. I'm not going to go through all that, why I voted for Bernie. I supported Bernie's views, his policies that he had, all this other stuff he had going on. But he was a disappointment to me. And of course, he's going to go further. He's still number 2 in the polls, but he better watch out. He better watch out because Julian Castro, Kamala Harris, and Elizabeth Warren was already up there. But Kamala and Julian, and I even think Pete Buttigieg, I think their numbers went up after the debate, which that usually happens anyway, but people are paying more attention to them. Julian Castro and Kamala Harris were the 2 most searched the nights after their debates, respectively. But Bernie, he has no policies, nothing. It really, when they asked him a question, he couldn't verbalize what he wanted. And if you know what you want and everything and what you want to do and what your policies will be as a president of the United States, you need to be click, click, click. You need to be saying something as well. Beto O'Rourke. Now, I had Beto as don't know if y'all remember, but when he first entered the race, I don't even think he was in yet. I don't think he and Joe Biden were even said that they were going to run. But I said I could see Beto being a vice presidential candidate along with Joe Biden as the presidential candidate. And he's not ready. He's not ready for this stage. And I'm really surprised because as great as he did, for the Texas senator position against punk ass Ted Cruz, it seems like he would have been ready and prepared for this part by now, going on to this bigger stage. But he doesn't have any policies. He doesn't really know fully what he's talking about. And I hate to say that, but it's true. Beto's not ready. Maybe in another 8 years or something like that, he'll be ready. He's still young. He's only in his 40s. We'll keep our eye on Beto. I still think he has a great future. He's not ready right now. I think he was just the heat of the moment. He was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And he's not ready. He needs to do a little bit more research if he's going to make it to the next debates. And because just remember, this was the first one and they're going to start weaning people out. But he most likely will make it to the second debate, but we'll see. Vice President Joe Biden, he was a disappointment to me. He wasn't there at all to me. And see, here's the thing. I love Joe Biden. I don't care what anybody's saying. I'm not jumping on this I hate Joe Biden thing. He's a racist and all this other stuff. I'm not jumping on that train because I truly don't believe that. I think that he is one that has the best chance of beating Trump, and that's what we want. He's been in the White House. He's been in politics in the Senate for years. He's made a lot of mistakes along the way, as many of them have. But of course, with him being the front runner, they're going to throw all that up. They're going to throw all that in his face and bring all that stuff up. That's just what happens. And it just seems like he's being attacked by everybody because he's the front runner. That's what's going to happen. But anyway, Uncle Joe just didn't seem there. It seemed like he was fully there at all. He just didn't give me what I thought he would within that debate. And maybe he was just trying to fill everybody out and see what was going on because he truly has nothing to worry about. But he may have something to worry about if he doesn't get it going. I mean, because people out here are finicky and we're desperate for someone to get Trump out of there. And if people don't feel like they can trust you, it's going to be another Hillary all over again. She was definitely the most qualified, but a lot of people just didn't trust her. We don't want that to happen again. And Kamala Harris really threw him off. And she said, just like sorry if y'all hear a tractor that just started in the background, my neighbor's cutting her grass. But I don't know. I mean, I just don't really know what to say about Vice President Biden. I don't know what to say about Uncle Joe. I really don't. I'm sure he will bounce back. If he doesn't, it could be a wrap for him. I just wish he would have ran last time, but I understand why he didn't. I truly understand why he didn't. And I don't think that he would have got this much backlash from within his own party if he would have ran last time. But anyway, and lastly, well, I'm going to give somebody honorable mention in a second. But lastly, who kind of disappointed me was Cory Booker. I'm not going to say that he was more of a disappointment. He pretty much gave me exactly what I expected from him. But I want a little bit more from Cory. Now, I don't think he has a chance of winning. I hate to say it. Another black man this soon, it's not going to happen. I hate to say it. I just don't see that happening with anybody. But I just don't think he's ready, as intelligent as he is, as great as he is on the Senate, as amazing as he was as mayor of Newark, New Jersey. Just the things that he's an amazing politician. I will give that to him. But he's almost like Beto on this sense where I don't think he's ready. He's young too, so he still has plenty of time to see if this is really what he wants. But I believe he'll make it to the next round. And maybe we'll see a different Cory Booker. I don't know, but we'll see. Now, I want to go back to an honorable mention that I have, and it's from the first night, and that's Amy Klobuchar. She did real good, but she doesn't give me presidential tease in a sense. And I'm not saying that she couldn't be. Anybody can be, apparently. And I think that if the Democrats do win, when they win, we're going to speak it into existence, when they win the office back, she deserves a seat in the cabinet because this woman is smart. She's on top of her stuff. She's very well versed. Amy Klobuchar is the bomb. I'm going to give that to her. She's a Minnesota senator. But I just don't see her as being a president. But she's on point. She's like Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris in the sense where they have that aggression, but it's not in a overly turn-offish way. And men can be like that too, don't get me wrong. Men can definitely be over-aggressive in a way where you're just like, ugh. But we didn't really see that with a lot of the men. It was mainly just a couple people who we saw aggressive that could, let me see. I know there actually were a couple men. I can't think of their names. But yeah, I'm not going to get into all that right now. It's hard to tell with the first debate because many people, they may have done Senate and House debates or whatever when they were running for office there. I don't even know if on the House level they do debates. Regardless, a lot of them, this was probably their first debate, and especially on this type of stage. So it was like, I'm sure there are a lot of butterflies. I'm sure there's a lot of uncertainty, but we're going to see. And I want to close this up by just announcing my winners from night 1 and night 2. And they were obviously Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris. So my question is, do you think it's a greater possibility that one of them could be the nominees? Could they take over and become the new faces of the Democratic Party? I'm interested. I'm interested to see when it gets closer and everything starts wiring down to who's going to be closer to the nominee when it gets down to like 6 nominees when they're debating. When it gets down to that low, that's going to be what's interesting, and to see who makes it and who doesn't. I'm excited to see what's going to happen within this, and hopefully whoever is the nominee, people will wake up and vote for them so we won't have to deal with that idiot and his idiots again. Dear Dominican Republic, now, I don't understand what's going on down there, but it appears that there's something going on. I don't know what it is, and people are still taking their asses down there, acting like they're not scared, and, they'll stay at that resort. I mean, what is your problem? You know what I mean? Now I'll say this, as many Americans that I'm sure stay there, or as many tourists, period, that stay there, and so far there have been 11 American reported deaths of Americans, I should say, 11 deaths of Americans. And that's only what's being reported. So I don't understand. At one point you had a couple, and I don't know what their excuse is, but it sounds like they're trying to cover it up or whatever. But if you want to go on there and stay at that resort and everything, you go right on ahead. You go ahead and do your thing. But it's so weird. They don't know. First, there was like a rumor that they were saying that maybe it was bleach in the, what is it called? In the alcohol. Then someone was saying that it could have been something that was like some kind of gas or something that's been floating around the hotel and it's gone into certain rooms or whatever. But these deaths are very mysterious, and these are like mainly healthy people. There may be a few health problems here and there, but not for them all to die the same way at the same place and this many in such a short period of time. And I know that different countries have different rules, for how they do in their regulations and stuff like that and their investigations. But why haven't they been shut down? And maybe they don't do that there, obviously, but something needs to happen. And I don't know what, but I know I won't be going to the Dominican Republic anytime. And that's one of the places I was really wanting to go soon, but I won't be going. I doubt if I'll be going anytime soon at all. It's just crazy. 11 deaths. All right, there's been this big debate about reparations lately, and I mean, it's something that's been ongoing for years that has been talked about, and it's about giving reparations to descendants of African American former slaves. And here's my take on it. I don't think that the financial part is what's necessarily important anymore, because it's almost like, how are you going to divvy that up? You could take all the black people who claim black that they are on the census, on whatever is reported, give them a little something extra. I don't know, but it was something that was promised to black people and descendants of slaves since slavery was abolished or whatever, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't understand why it's such a big deal to question why black people are questioning their reparations when we've seen Jewish people, we've seen Chinese people, we've seen Japanese people get their reparations for things that they've gone through. And there was never any question about it, but it's every time that it comes up for black people about reparations, it's always a question like, why? Why now? And all this other stuff. And then you got Mitch McConnell's bird-looking ass talking about pretty much that, well, we gave you Obama, so that should take care of all that. Now, here's the thing. I don't think what a lot of people realize is what being descendants of slaves has done to black people generationally. They do not understand it. And when you don't try to understand it, you make stupid comments like that. So us having a black president, we're supposed to forget all that happened hundreds of years ago, centuries ago, that happened to our descendants and how they were treated and how the effects of that is still hurting the black community today, regardless if you're successful, regardless if you're black. You have, I'm not going to break down every type, but we all have some type of burden on our shoulders that is holding us down from just being black. And no one wants to talk about that. Because you look at people nowadays and you're like, well, y'all got houses. You can live anywhere you want to. You can work. You have good jobs. There are CEOs of companies. People own their own businesses, all this other stuff. But it's almost like when that's thrown in our face, it's being presented as, well, we did this for you. We allowed you to do that. That's what it seems like to us. Truthfully, I don't think even financial, everybody likes an extra coin, but I don't even think a financial reparation is necessary. I just think it's about mainly now it's the principle of it. And it's about wanting to be treated as equals all these years later. And anyone who still has a problem with black people, anyone who's racist against black people still to this day, they have no reason to be. It's something like for them that was generationally passed down. Because you don't just become racist. It's not like you just wake up one day and you're like, oh, I don't like black people. Oh, I don't like Hispanic people. I don't like Asian people. You don't just wake up one day and say that. This is something that was passed down to you, you were taught about, you were brainwashed about, that these people are beneath you and they can be treated any kind of way because of the color of their skin. And that goes deeper than anything financially. I don't know. I just don't even know what can be done in 2019 and going forward to clear up or to clean up anything, whatever you want to say about reparations. I truly don't know. But what I do know is people like Mitch McConnell think like that, and there are more people who think like that. I've even heard people say, in not a direct way like he did, that pretty much, well, y'all got Obama. No, we didn't get Obama. The country got Obama, because it wasn't just black people that voted him in. And if y'all thought in 2008, 2009 that we shouldn't have had a black president or a woman president by then, out of all the time within this country's existence, then something is wrong with you. So it wasn't a gift to us. Obama, well, he was a gift, but you know what I'm saying? Not racially. It's just the mindset of people that is just crazy. And it's going to continue to be a cycle if people don't learn to work together, listen to each other, understand each other. It's going to continue to be like this. So I want to give it up to Janet Mock, who is one of the executive producers of the hit show Pose on FX. She signed a huge deal with our fave Netflix to produce, I don't even know how many shows it was or how many specials it was, but girlfriend is about to be working. She's always working. I'm happy for her. She's very creative. I'm pretty sure that her shows are going to be amazing. I can't wait to watch them. And of course, I'm all for Netflix, so we'll have to wait and see what she has up her sleeve. Speaking of Pose, now I said that I'm not going to do a recap week by week of Pose of what's going on, but I had to speak on this one. I had to, because one of the storylines from this past week was Electra Abundance. She's working as a dominatrix on the side, and she had this guy, a client of hers, who liked to get high before they started doing their thing. She started torturing him, whatever the hell she was doing to him that he enjoyed, where he kept coming back. Now, she knew this dude liked to do drugs, whatever. She let him do his thing because he was paying more money. He told her, can you leave the room while this kicks in, whatever, and then, come back in a few minutes, whatever. So she leaves, talking to her other girls. She comes back in the room, and here he is, just all slinged up still, arms and legs all up in the air in this little contraption thing that the girls use for S&M type activities. And he was dead. She took that mask off, and it was a wrap, because he had like this gas mask thing on where, the drugs came out. I don't know why that was even necessary, but that's what she gave him to pretty much let the drugs kick in quicker, I guess. But anyway, she knew that she couldn't go to the police and say, as a trans woman, she knew that she couldn't go, and not only that, as a black trans woman, she couldn't go to the police and say that this white man OD'd, because then the whole thing would be folded and she would most likely be in jail for it. So they went around to these whole different things, whatever, and they finally got to Conchita, who, listen, I don't know if that was her real name, but that's the name I gave her because she was a key. They need to have her on as a recurring character because I laughed the entire time she was on. But anyway, it was Spanish trans fish, and she pretty much knew what to do with bodies. So she asked them, is he fat? Is he skinny? Is he tall? Is he short? They're like, what the hell does that mean? She said, because I need to know what kind of suitcase that we need for him. I said, oh, okay, girl. So I see where this is going. As soon as that happened, I was like, don't tell me this is going to be the Dorian Corey story. Now, for those of you who don't know who Dorian Corey is, if you've ever seen Paris is Burning, or you've ever seen the clip where the trans woman is explaining shade, what shade is, whatever. But Dorian Corey is one of the older queens that was featured in Paris is Burning. Basically just talked about how it was back in the day and how the ballroom scene has changed. And of course he explained shade famously and all these other things. I mean, just a legend in the community. The mother of the House of Corey, all that stuff. The whole time Dorian is featured in Paris is Burning, we see him in his apartment and incense burning and everything, which I get now why the incense were burning. She's just doing her makeup the entire time, which was fine. I mean, how they get ready, that's what she does. It wasn't, and now I saw Paris is Burning years ago, and then I started watching it again when it came on Netflix about 6-7 years ago. But recently, I would say no. Maybe a couple years after it came back on Netflix, I came across some kind of article. I don't even know how I got to this article, but it was about a mummified body found in Paris is Burning's actor closet or something caught my attention with this article. So I opened the article, and it says that Paris is Burning star Dorian Corey, after he passed away, that they found in his closet, when they were cleaning out his apartment, they found in his closet a chest with a man's mummified body in it. Now, there was no one knew what happened. It's all been speculation and rumors that have gone on to what happened, why this man was killed, or why he was mummified and put in the suitcase and kept in her apartment for all those years. I mean, I'm sure you and some of the girls could have got rid of that body, but anyway, I digress. So that's where they were going with this storyline with this dead guy who OD'd in Electra's torture room. Is that what we're going to call it? But anyway, so they got Spanish Fish up in there, and she was just hilarious. She wanted to know what he looked like, what kind of suitcase she would need. So she leaves. They take the suitcase, the body of the suitcase, back to Electra's bomb-ass apartment. They take it back there. After paying her all this money, Electra thinks that she ran off with the money. No, my girl Conchita comes back, and she's like, hey, this is what we're going to do. And she got all these these dang materials and everything and basically saying that, this mummifies the body. I said, oh, hell no, they didn't. So yes, they did. They played this out. And the thing about Pose, what a lot of people don't understand, is that these storylines, pretty much all of them, are true events. These are things that really happened within the community. All these things that are talked about are very loosely based on real events, legendary events that have happened within the LGBTQ community for years. So I just wanted to talk about that real quick because I fell out. Now, it's not funny that somebody died and that, they held this body and mummified it, whatever. Now, that's not funny. It's actually kind of scary and gross. I can't wait to see how this plays out. However, it's just crazy that this is a part of history that they decided to use. And it's something a lot of people don't really know about because, as I mentioned, Paris is Burning came out in the early 90s, and this story didn't get released until almost a decade or so later, maybe even longer than, maybe 2 decades later. The story didn't get put on a public or put out there to the public, I should say. But honey, I'm so glad they covered this because this is what people need to know. Y'all F with these queens out here, you'll become a mummified body. I'm just saying. Now, Pose, what I don't want y'all to do is start doing these tragic storylines because I don't want anybody to become Venus Extravaganza out here in her sad demise because that'll really just take me out. Carmelo Anthony, okay, so this past week was one, I don't know what day it was, but it was Lala's birthday. He was sending all these, I don't know what he sent to her privately, but of course he was posting on social media because, that's what people do, even to our loved ones, but posting how much, he appreciated her and just all these little nice birthday wishes. Come to find out, he was caught on a yacht during her birthday, on her birthday, I should say, not just during, but on her birthday as well. So the pictures were taken. It was shown with him and a lady, and all you saw were the two of them. You didn't see anybody else, and it's not saying that anybody else wasn't there, and it's not saying that nobody else was there and that they, just were inside or, on the other side of the boat, whatever. I'm not saying that, but it just looked very suspect. So Carmelo, who usually doesn't say anything, addressed TMZ, of course, and pretty much said that this is a business trip, and, I don't know what he called it, business outing, business trip, something like that. And the lady that y'all are talking about, she doesn't want to be out there like that. She has a family. This is a married woman. She has kids, and now she has to deal with all this, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, of course, the girls out there did their research. Come to find out, the lady is not married. We don't know if she has any kids, but she's not married. So you lied. You lied to the people that this was a married woman, that you were on a business trip, which you could have been on a business trip. Who knows? But that's probably what you gave Lala, telling her that you were going to be on this business trip. I don't know. But you should have just not said anything. It's crazy. I have no words. I don't know what else Lala can do. She's going on. She has a successful career. Your son is at an age where he knows what's going on now. I highly doubt that you want him to see his mother being played like this, because even though he could have a good head on his shoulders, which I'm sure he does, because, for Carmelo's faults and everything like that, for the way he's dealing with his marriage, he does seem to have a good head on his shoulders besides everything else. Lala, definitely, she's older than him. She appears to have a good head on her shoulders. Kyan seems to be like, is that his name? But their son seems to be like a very nice kid. But do you want him to see this being played out like this? That's the thing. I understand people want to keep their marriage together for kids and all this other stuff, but kids know what's going on. You can't let your child see you being played like this. And I'm pretty sure you can shelter him all you want to about what's going on in the news and the media, but trust me, he knows. So Carmelo, do better. If you're going to be a cheater, be a good cheater. I'm just saying. Cheaters are usually the worst at cheating. That part. So I want to talk about movies real quick and just how tired I am about some of these remakes that they're really just screwing up. Now, they've done this for a long time, but I want to talk about Child's Play, the new one, where Chucky looks like a mixture of Donald Trump and Tisha Campbell. Now, that's what the kids are saying, not me. I'm just saying what they're saying. It's trash. It's trash and it's terrible, and they didn't stick to the original storyline, which sometimes is good, but with a movie like that, you do. It was was bad. It was horrible. I'm so glad I didn't pay for it, and we'll just leave it at that. But there's that. So I think I talked about this before, but there's going to be a Coming to America sequel, and I'm looking forward to that. To me, a remake and a sequel are two totally different things, of course, and especially a sequel that has the original cast. Now, supposedly the original cast from Coming to America is all going to be in this. That's the only thing that's going to make it work. You know what I mean? So we'll see how that does, but they're still filming it. That's why I wanted to bring it up again. Go see Aladdin and Toy Story 4. Both of those are amazing. Toy Story never lets me down. That's probably like the only true cartoonish type movie that I actually enjoy because it just has such a good story. I'm sorry, that brings out the big kid in me, but I did like Aladdin and Toy Story 4, so I definitely recommend these. The sickening trailer for the live version of The Lion King has come out, and I think that's when The Lion King, it comes out next month if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the exact date, but of course, Donald Glover, Beyonce's in it. I can't wait for that. I'm definitely going to watch that. Aladdin and The Lion King are probably two of my favorite, and that's hard because I love Disney movies, especially the older ones. But those two are probably my favorite of all time. There's a new movie out that's called Ready or Not that seems intriguing. It comes out August 23rd, and that one seems like that's going to be pretty good, so look out for that one. Just from the previews, it looks good, but we'll see. I don't put my hope too much in movies anymore. I don't really go to the movies. The last movie that I actually went to go see in the movie theater was it Girls Trip or was it Sausage Party? I can't remember. No, it was Girls Trip. It was Girls Trip was the last movie that I went to go see, and the only reason I went was because my baby brother, he asked me, did you want to go see it? And I was like, sure. I don't get that many chances to hang out with him, so I was like, cool, let's go see it. That was the last movie I went to go see, and if I'm not mistaken, that was like a month before my surgery. Yeah, I think it was right before I had my surgery when we went to go see that. So yeah, that was the last time I went in the movies. And the thing about it is I used to love going to the movies. I would be in the movies sometimes every week back in the day when I was, a little younger, but I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's my ADD. I don't know if I just enjoy being able to rewind, stop, pause, whatever, just having that luxury of watching it at home. My mind is always working. So if the wheels are turning and I feel like there's something that needs to be done, then I need to go do it. And if I'm in the middle of a movie, I can't. And I know people are saying that, well, you shouldn't be thinking about stuff like that while you're watching a movie. I do. So I don't know what it is, but I just really don't care for going to the movies anymore. I don't. And there are some movies that I actually do want to see in the movie theater because I want that effect. Like I didn't go see Black Panther in the movie theater. I just didn't. And I wanted to. That was a movie that I wanted to go see, but I heard it was long. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to concentrate throughout that whole movie. And that's sad. But it's the truth. So anyway, that's my little thing about movies for this week. So let's keep a lookout for the Coming to America sequel. Don't go see Child's Play unless you want to. Some people may like it, some people don't. Majority of the people said it's trash. I said it's trash. A movie called Ready or Not, that seems like that's going to be pretty good. That comes out August 23rd. And The Lion King comes out next month. And still in the movie theaters, go see Aladdin and Toy Story 4. So I pride myself on just being an individual and having my own mind, not following the crowd. I've always been like that. One of the things is there are people who I like. There are people who I enjoy talking with, who, I enjoy going back and forth with, being shady, stuff like that. And here's my thing. I can like you, but I don't trust you. And that's sad. A lot of people make you feel that way. I've seen people who I like as a person. Okay, let me further explain. I can like somebody as a person, meaning that, as I mentioned before, I can joke around with you, can have fun with you, like maybe just through social media or whatever. I wouldn't trust telling you certain things, even if it's not too personal. And I know I'm not the only one who feels that way, but I've seen it with my own eyes, and I know a lot of you all have too, where you have people who can say they're cool with somebody, who can say that my homie, like, we're like sisters, we're like cousins, whatever. And then the next breath, they turn around and dog them, telling their business. I mean, it's just like, so what are you going to do to me? There was an instance like this, which happened on social media. Was it last year sometime? It may have been around last summer, last fall, whatever. But two people who I was super cool with got into it, and it was just something that went totally wrong. It wasn't even worth all that it turned out to be. And when one person got mad at the other person, they told all their business. And I was just like, wow, okay, and I felt a particular way about it, but it wasn't the point to where I was ready to write somebody off. Then I thought about it a little bit more, and I'm just like, what's this person going to do to me? Because we're not as cool as the other person was. So if I do or say something or just don't react the way that someone may think I should, then what are you going to do to me? I don't know. And maybe I'm not making any sense. It comes to a point in life where you just have to keep some people at a distance. And if they can't handle that, if they can't understand it, then they're just not on your level. I'm sorry. Then they just can't be the type of person that you should be hanging around. You know what I mean? And people like that are dangerous because they may not even be telling the truth on you. I've had somebody like that who I was super cool with, and throughout the whole time that we were cool, they were lying to me and everybody else. And not only that, as soon as, I cut this person off, then it was everything. They started just telling everything, even lies about myself, and it started coming back to me. And the crazy thing is, people who know how this person is, and has even hurt them and said things about them themselves, they still ride for this person. They're still cool with this person. And that's your business, but just know that I can't trust you either. If you're going to be super cool and hanging out with a person who is like that, that says a lot about your character as well. And I just can't deal with that. As I mentioned, we can be cool from afar. I can like you as an individual, but I don't have to trust you. That's the thing. I think the only people that deserve trust are people who you're super cool with, people who you can depend on, family and friends. And when you get to a certain age, that's truly all you need. I don't need hundreds of friends. I truly don't. I have a handful of people who I call my true friends, and I'm cool with that. And my life is just fine. I don't feel like I have to impress all these people. I don't feel like I have to be someone I'm not just because I have all these different people around me and they're expecting me to be a certain way. I'm just not that type of person. But you do you, whatever floats your boat. If you want to be around untrustworthy people, that's on you. If you want to keep telling them your business, that's on you, but I don't have to. So for this week's show, the last thing I want to do is give a quick update on my weight. And I'm still doing good. I'm still losing weight. I'm just not losing it as fast, which is expected. My body kind of went into a shock after a certain period of time, and after my stomach fully healed and I'm able to eat a little bit more. So yeah, it kind of went into a shock, and it kind of shocked me. My weight was stalled for months. And as I mentioned in a podcast before, once you get to a certain point after bariatric surgery, then you're pretty much on your own. And for me, it was exactly 18 months, like a year and a half after my surgery. My weight was just like, hey girl, we're here. So I still haven't hit my halfway goal yet. I still have about 5 months because remember I said I want to at least be halfway to my overall goal by my 40th birthday, which is at the end of the year. And I'm not doing anything differently that I was doing before when I talked about what I eat and, how I'm not only just maintaining my weight loss, but how I'm losing a little bit. So it's a struggle. It's a struggle because when you were so used to just the weight falling off and not having to do nothing about it, now that I actually have to work on it, I'm in shock. My body's in shock. So just keep that in mind, that you still have to work on it. And don't let stalls deter you. And it doesn't matter if you've had weight loss surgery or not. Don't let them make you feel like that you're failing. When you first start a diet or you start cutting back or whatever you want to call it, if you're not losing weight right away, or you're not losing how much weight that you feel like you should be losing because you're doing this, you're doing that, everything that seems like it's the right thing to do to lose weight, remember that your body will always go into shock. Your body is like a brain, you know what I mean? It's functioning. So if you throw it off, it's going to be like squirrel, and do something else, like seriously, it's not going to gel together, between your body and your brain. They're not going to come together, and you're not going to be able to be successful at losing weight. This was something that I had to learn. I haven't been this weight in years, and my body's like, girl, what did you do to us? But remember, to lose weight, you have to eat. So don't starve yourself. And sometimes you have to force yourself to eat. And I hate doing that. And I think that's another thing that stalls my weight, is because when I'm not eating because I'm not hungry, I'm not getting my protein in. I'm not getting my healthy fats in. I'm not getting, the things in that I need to help me lose weight. So that's what happens there. I'm not doing anything completely wrong in a sense, except for not eating. That's pretty much it. I'm still eating everything that I've had before. I just can't eat a lot of it, and when my appetite first started picking up, it was kind of like a shock too, because I was like, well, dang, am I supposed to be eating this much? What's going on? Did my stomach expand? Did my ulcers come back? What's going on? I had no idea what was going on, but come to find out, my stomach was finally fully healed. It took that long. So then when that happens and your appetite picks up, you truly don't know what to do, because it's a shock to your mental. It's a shock to everything. But the way to lose weight, and it's always been told to me since day one that I've started this journey, and it's still told to me by people who I'm in groups with and things like that, you have to eat. You have to get proteins in. You have to take your vitamins if needed. And the only vitamins you really need to take are from what nutrients you're not getting. But it's always good to take a daily multivitamin. Always good for that. And you have to drink plenty of water, at least 64 ounces a day. And it's really not that much. What is it, like 4 of the Kroger water bottles that you buy in the packs or whatever? It's not really that much. Try to get at least 64 ounces in. And, some people can get that in one sitting. I can't, because I can't take in that much at one time, but I've been doing good at getting that in. And especially now that it's hotter outside, it's easier for me to do because I'm always thirsty. But water and protein, that's what you really, truly need. And then the weight will just start falling off again. Not as fast as it did before, but it will start coming off. Now, you don't necessarily have to be as active. I just enjoy doing activities. I enjoy, working out every now and then. Not as much, but I do enjoy it now a little bit more because it's not as much of a struggle. But the main activity that I do, I walk. And that's one of the easiest things to do. And I think I've talked about that in the last podcast where I talked about exercising. So if you can just at least get out and just walk, you'll be good. Definitely, you're going to want to eventually incorporate some other things every now and then, like maybe swimming, something like that. That's getting more endurance in you. But if you don't want to work out, if you don't want to do anything else, at least walk. So that's where I am on my weight loss journey. Still have a little bit of ways to go to my goal, but I'm closer than I was before. So that's always a positive thing. That's always a good thing to look at and to feel. So we're just going to keep it going. And hopefully, I'm praying by this time next year, I will be at my goal. Thank you all for listening to Danny B Speaks, the podcast. I truly appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time to listen to my show. Don't forget that you can listen to the podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Google Play Music, Spotify, and Stitcher. Also, don't forget to check out my blog, DannieBSpeaks.com, where I post about any and everything as well, just like over here on the podcast. You can also listen to the podcast on the blog as well. So while you're over there, you might as well just go ahead and listen to it, catch up on it. All the podcasts are on there. If you have any questions, suggestions, feedback, would like for me to endorse or promote anything or anyone, hit me up at DannieBSpeaks@gmail.com. I keep putting it out here, but it appears that the people who want to be on the podcast aren't listening to it. But anyway, I'll keep saying it. If you want to be on the podcast as a guest, as a co-host, please hit me up as well at my email, DannieBSpeaks@gmail.com. And I reply to everything. As always, have a great and productive week, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.